What's going on, guys? Austin here, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at 5-Minute Fantasy's Week 14 Booing and Busting Tight Ends. My start of the week I'm going to say is going to be Jack Doyle. He's now the lone tight end, at least lone feature tight end, on the Indianapolis Colts team, now that Eric Ebron's out for the season, going up against the Tampa Bay defense, who I think is 28th in the league in covering, opposing tight ends in terms of, total receptions, yards, and touchdowns. So look for him to have a good game. He's been having a good season. I think he's about 12th in the league in terms of fantasy points. So look for his production to potentially even go up now that it's not as crowded of a field. I'm going to say start Tyler Higbee. Same thing for him. He's been having a good season for being maybe the 5th or 6th option on the Los Angeles Rams team. But now that the wide receivers, they're kind of getting game planned out, and Gerald Everett, I believe he's on the IR. Tyler Higbee going up against Seattle, who is bottom half in the league in covering tight ends. I think he could be, one of the X factors in this game in terms of, can the Rams win? I'm going to say start Kyle Rudolph, who over the last couple weeks has been having a really great stretch. He had another fantastic catch against Seattle. It was really similar to the touchdown he had against Dallas, this touchdown against Seattle. Detroit, not a very good red zone team, not a very good pass defense, not a very good team at covering tight ends. Never really have been. So look for Kyle Rudolph to potentially have another 14 maybe more points in a matchup against Detroit. And then the Denver Broncos, Noah Fant, going up against the Houston Texans. Houston, again below average in the league in terms of covering opposing tight ends. Noah Fant, who has been receiving more and more of the targets, especially now that Emmanuel Sanders has been gone for a little while. He's established himself as a receiver, and he's established himself with a new quarterback, Drew Lock. Is he still in college? Maybe. I'm not sure. But he should be having a relatively good game. He's going to be more of a waiver wire target where, if Greg Olsen, he's now hurt, and then basically you're in a 12-team league, everybody else has 2 tight ends or something like that. He's going to be a good lower round pickup that you can grab. I'm going to say you're going to want to sit Travis Kelce. If there's one thing that New England knows, it's tight ends. Seriously, the only way that Travis Kelce gets any points is if he gets 10 catches for just a couple yards that Patrick Mahomes throws to him over the middle all the time, even though they're not going to do that because that's not what Kansas City does. They don't throw the ball short, and I don't expect Travis Kelce to be able to beat them on the deep ball. I think he's going to be pressed up by a safety, probably Patrick Chung. He's going to be needing to play a lot of bump and run because New England's running defense has been suspect lately, and I want to say that I trust Andy Reid to try to run the football, so that would leave Travis Kelce in on the line a lot more than he normally would be. I'm going to say set Mark Andrews going up against Buffalo. Buffalo's pretty good at covering tight ends. And although Mark Andrews had a really good game against an elite defense last week, it necessarily wasn't an elite defense in terms of covering tight ends just because they haven't played a lot of tight ends. So I think that this game against Buffalo could really slow down Mark Andrews. Austin Hooper, I saw that he's projected to come back this week. Don't start him. Don't think he's going to have the same season, at least in the second half this year that he started out. I know he was number 1 for so many weeks, but with Matt Ryan getting hurt, coming back really slow, Julio Jones potentially being banged up, a lot of the defensive pressure is going to be put on Austin Hooper, and Austin Hooper's never really been that guy at tight end, so don't expect him to all of a sudden come back to something where it was probably more of a fluke him being so great early on in the season than it is. So especially those of you who are still hanging on to him on your rosters, I wouldn't, want to hang on to him for too long. If you could pick up Jack Doyle, that wouldn't be bad. Kyle Rudolph, I know he's still out there in a few leagues. Don't be afraid of that. And then the Miami Dolphins tight end, Mike Gesicki. I don't know how to say that name. Looks sort of Italian. It could be anything. But the Miami Dolphins tight end, he had a great game last week against Philadelphia. Don't think that's going to happen again because Philadelphia is a terrible secondary. It was a shootout. It was a perfect storm. if anything, Jamal Adams is going to be paired up on him, especially stacked up on the line like Jamal likes to be. Just avoid starting him this week.